I'm Ken Hiltner. I'm director of UC Santa Barbara's Environmental Humanities Initiative. Many thanks for your interest in our conference, which is admittedly an unusual one. So I'm going to get into details as to how it will work as well as the rationale for it. But first, a bit of an overview, and that is to be as carbon neutral as possible for the conference. It's going to principally take place online. Specifically, how it will work is each of the speakers is going to provide us with a filmed version of their talk, which will be uploaded to our website. Conference will be open for 3 weeks, during which time visitors to the conference will be able to go to that site, look at the individual films, and comment and do a Q&A online that will go back and forth between questions and answers. So how's that going to work and what's it going to look like? Well, the second part first, because you already see what it's going to look like. I'm filming this in my home, in my study, using my standard laptop computer. The only thing specialized about what I'm doing is I have a webcam, which is like a $50 or $60 item, which delivers a little better quality than the standard webcam with most computers. The only other specialized equipment is I have a stack of books on my desk and I have the laptop sitting on top of those to bring it up a little higher. That's really all that I'm doing. As far as the software end of it, most computers nowadays come with software designed to film video. In my case, since I have an Apple computer, it's called QuickTime. It's an included pre-installed program. All that I've done is I've launched it. I've selected that I wanted to do a webcam recording, and I pushed the little red record button on the screen, and that's all that I had to do. Once the talk is over, it will be uploaded to our website, and as to what that will look at, well, you can see it. That's exactly what I've done here. So this is how all the talks will be. Now, I'll talk later about how you would handle doing something like PowerPoint or Prezi, or a combination of a webcam and Prezi presentation. In fact, with like PowerPoint, it's actually in some ways easier than what I'm doing. But I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But first, I wanted you to see what this looks like. And also with respect to how the Q&A will take place. If you look down below the video that you're watching, on the page there's provision for a Q&A, and made possible by WordPress, which is the environment that our website is built in, so that people can ask me questions. And how this works is simply enough. Every time a question is asked to me, an email is automatically sent to me telling me I have a question waiting. I can then respond to that question, and hopefully we can go back and forth with a Q&A session over this 3-week period. It's relatively simple to do, I think. Now, is this broadcast quality? Well, no, it's certainly not. But in terms of like a Skype, presentation, I think it's much better. I mean, the quality is better, and this is largely because, cameras have improved so much over the last few years, in part because of our smartphones. The camera technology has gotten better and better, so that even a little handheld smartphone can do high definition video, and that technology has migrated over to computers. So this desktop and laptops, this really wouldn't have been possible even a few years ago, nor did we have the sort of bandwidth so that you could be watching this kind of video. And that's why we're doing it this way, and as opposed to just like a Skype presentation. But the real reason we're doing this, of course, is environmental, right? The carbon footprint of conferences is rather outrageous. So you may have read in the CFP we put out there that even a relatively small conference like ours could have a carbon footprint of 20,000 pounds or more of CO2. The fact is, we need to confront this, I think, is that flying is a very elite activity globally. And what I mean by that is most people on the planet have never gotten into a plane, will never get into a plane. And even among Americans, only half of Americans, fly annually, half do not. And only 25% of Americans fly 3 or more times a year. Unfortunately, many academics find themselves in that group. The problem specifically is, if you were to fly here to Santa Barbara from the East Coast, from New York or Atlanta, and then back again, the carbon footprint for that flight would be about 2,000 pounds, a metric ton. Put that number in perspective, that's the same amount, the same size carbon footprint as the average person living in India expends for the entire year for all aspects of their lives. In Kenya, 3 people expend less energy, has a smaller carbon footprint than that. So, as part of this global elite doing this activity, I mean, we really need to stop and question if there's another way of doing this. If we weren't talking about, flying here, but say ground transportation, it would seem kind of obvious. What I mean by that is, we who are doing all this flying would not be among the group who are biking or walking or taking mass transit. We wouldn't even be the group taking, hybrids to work. We'd be among the group driving SUVs. Now, this is a real problem. So our goal here is to do an experiment in what a carbon neutral conference would be like. So we're well aware at the onset that this is going to have shortcomings. We have no ambitions to say that this will be equal to a standard conventional face-to-face, flesh and blood conference. It's just not possible that it could do that. On the other hand, we do hope that it will have some advantages. So with the Q&A taking place on the page over time and the presentations being set up this way, it will mean that some people who wouldn't be able to be involved in a conference like this, coming from another part of the world, the cost would be prohibitive to do this sort of flying. Maybe graduate students couldn't afford the cost of flying. People who are variously abled, who could in theory go through airports. They're pretty accessible nowadays, but gee, what a hassle that is to come just to deliver a talk. That's not here as a problem any longer. But we'll see. It is just an experiment, and we hope that you'll take part in it with us. So specifically, how will this work? I mentioned you can just use a webcam and your own computer to film this. That's certainly viable. That's one of the reasons I wanted to show you this way. There are all sorts of possibilities for being creative there. You could film it, outside, film it at a certain locale. That could be kind of fun. If your university has a broadcast studio and you would rather do it there, well, that's perfectly fine as well. But I think this is just the sort of quality we're expecting and nothing more. Now, if you're doing a PowerPoint or a Prezi, one way of doing it is actually easier than this. Forget about the webcam. Using a program like QuickTime, instead of selecting that you want to record the webcam, you select you want to record the screen, in which case everything that happens on your screen, which could be a full presentation mode of PowerPoint, would be recorded. If you're a little camera shy especially, that could be a fun option, I guess, because the presentation would just be the PowerPoint without viewing the person giving it. If you want to do something a little fancier, there are programs available that can simultaneously record both the webcam and what's happening on the screen. And then you have the option of editing it, so you can, you could see me talking and then shift over to a PowerPoint. That would be great if you want to take the time to do that. But I didn't do that here because we wanted you to see just how simple this is and how simple this can be. But if this even this level of technical challenge is a little much for you, and hey, this is a conference mainly speaking to people in the humanities and social sciences. You may not be a techie person. That's okay. There are plenty of people around who are. And if, your department's like my department, there are a lot of undergraduate, graduate students who might be able to handle this for you. Once you get the film, it's going to be too large of a file. It's going to be an MP4 or .mov file, usually to email. But once we have, come up with our slate of presenters, we will give you access to a Dropbox folder. If you're not familiar with Dropbox, it's very simple. It's just, you go online through a browser, you select it and open the folder, and it'll give you the option of uploading the video to us. After that, you can forget about it for this part of it. What I mean by that is we will take it from Dropbox and we will upload it to our Vimeo account. And from our Vimeo account, it'll stream to our website. And again, what will that look like? It's exactly what you're seeing here. That's how this is happening. And using Vimeo will allow us to ensure that we have enough bandwidth that if multiple people are watching the same talk, different parts of the world, it'll work just fine. The issue then is, how does Q&A work? Well, again, WordPress, which is the environment that we're building here, the website, is very robust when it comes to commenting. You may know WordPress from way back in the day, where it started off as a blogging platform and is increased, is much more than that now. It's what we call a content management system. If you poke around our website, you'll see kind of things that can be done with it. But for our purposes here, it is a robust commenting system. So, if you want to make a comment here, and depending on if you're one of the first people to view my talk or not, there may be comments down there already. Feel free to make them to me. I'd be happy to email back. And again, it's a simple thing. Every time a comment comes in, I will get an email, and I will then comment on it. We're hoping, of course, that participants in the conference also take part in this. So if you're giving a talk, providing a talk in this case, then you can hopefully go online during the 3 weeks, which the conference is open, and ask questions of other folks as well. We hope to have this organized as a series of panels. Again, it's an unusual conference. We understand that. It could be a total failure. I don't think it's going to be quite a total failure, although I'm reluctant to make any big predictions. If I were going to make big predictions, I would say this. I'll make 2 of them. I think in the future, conferences are going to have to be more like this, more online experiences. Projections are, right now, flying is about 5% of the carbon footprint that people make. That may go up to 20% by the year 2050. And the reason is, first, on the ground, there are things that we can do towards using renewable sources like solar and wind. The problem is, I don't think there's any technology on the horizon that's in any way practical that would allow us to do that with airplanes. Electric airliners, I don't think anyone's quite talking about that now, or how to make that work, or wind powered. I mean, the prospect of a flying clipper ship is very appealing to me. If someone could figure out how to make it work, I think I'd like that. But the fact is, realistically, none of these things are not going to happen in the near future. And, if you're familiar, obviously, with what's happening now, we need to act very quickly to reduce our global carbon expenditure. We need to do it now, not in a few years from now, but we need to do it right now. And this presents an avenue to do that. And I think it's an interesting example of what's really needed. What I mean by that is, we can hope that there's going to be some silver bullet technology that will save us and allow us to continue business as usual because of this new technology that will solve all our climate change and environmental problems. I just don't see that happening, certainly not here. On the other hand, this is only being made possible by these different technologies, which we've cobbled together, QuickTime, Dropbox, Vimeo, WordPress, to make this work. So in part, technology is going to be a part of what we need to do in the future. On the other hand, we need to look very carefully at the cultural practices that we're doing, and look to ways of shifting those practices. And this is an effort to do that. So I think it will happen more in the future. My second prediction is it probably won't look anything at all like the conference you're watching. This conference is just an attempt to cobble together these technologies and to put something together right now and see how it works. We hope that it will work, and we hope that you want to take part in it as well. So if you have any questions, you should definitely send them my way by way of the Q&A below me. And if you wonder how this would actually work, what it would be like to sit and watch a 15-minute or so conference talk online, well, you've just done it. I think I've talked for about 15 minutes. So this is the format. This is what it'll be like, and we'll see how it works. And we would very much like you to be involved if you can. So thank you very much, and I hope to be seeing you at the conference.